Hey everybody, I wanted to make a quick video to address some of the current events that are going on, namely the current events in Israel. I've heard some politicians, I've also heard this out in the wild, various individuals. It's not predominant, but I've heard it and I wanted to address it before it grew any more. I've heard a lot of talk about going in and just weighing waste to the Gaza Strip and screw casualties. We're going to take out Hamas, and they're basically equating Palestinians as being Hamas, and that's not the case. Just because you're Palestinian doesn't make you Hamas. And the 6-year old boy that was murdered in Chicago. Come on, people. We're all human. We are all one race. I understand that there are folks out there that have beliefs that condone the things that happened this past week and the past few days. But that's not the majority of us. The majority of us want the world to continue to spin. We want to wake up happy. We want no harm to others. We want our family and our friends to thrive. The people that want to do bad things in this world are way in the minority. They're way in the minority. Whenever I was in Iraq, I met a gentleman that was from Palestine, or he is Palestinian, however you want to call it. Um, he was Palestinian. He was working with the crew that I was supervising or monitoring, whatever. Anyway, we had several conversations, and English wasn't his primary language, and Arabic wasn't mine. Among the other languages that he spoke various languages, and I spoke various broken languages, very broken. Anyway, we figured things out, and we were able to talk, and he was talking about Israel, and he talked about his home, and he talked about religion, and it was a very positive conversation. He had nothing but praise to give to us, and and whenever I say us, I'm talking about the soldiers that were there. He was talking about my guys that were helping them out, um, and he was talking about in general. He did not have hate in his heart. He loved the United States for making things better in his neck of the woods. I wish things had turned out differently in Iraq, but that's a different story. He talked about Israel. He talked about Jewish, Christian, and the Muslim religions, and how Abraham was a link between all three, and that he had no angst, nor did he know anybody that had angst towards any Jews or Christians. He viewed them as, at worst, cousins, but brothers and sisters of faith, of a common root faith. And with that being said, I know that guy was not Hamas. He was Palestinian, but he was not Hamas. That man told me a story later on, um, about him going through a Baghdad neighborhood to dump his truck. He was a truck driver. He was dumping trash out of Abu Ghraib. He was he was hauling it to a dump, and one day he went to a Baghdad neighborhood and kids were throwing rocks at him. And he told me this story, and I was in disbelief. And I forgot where I was at. I did this a few times in Iraq, and that can be dangerous. In a war zone, that can be very dangerous. But I forgot where I was there for a little bit whenever I was talking to him. It was just two humans having a conversation. And I said, they were throwing rocks at your truck? And he said, yeah, they were throwing rocks at my truck. And they were shouting nasty things and telling me to die and all kinds of things. And I said, where were their parents? And he said, beside them, cheering them on. There you go. Those people, that was bad. But anyway, he continued his mission and he made it back to tell me the story. I spent a few weeks there, and then my mission was over with, and I went back um, to Camp Cropper and did some missions there. And a couple weeks later, uh, guys that had rotated in to do this work had rotated out and was telling me about the guys um, that were doing the work. And I asked about the Palestinian guy, and one of my buddies told me that he was driving down one of those Baghdad neighborhoods, and the adults were out this time, and they shot him in his truck and then burnt the truck to the ground. I would consider that guy a friend, and they killed my friend. My friend who was Palestinian and had no hate for Israel and praise for the United States and freedom. Let that sink in. Thank you.